Formal organizations are groups structured around formal norms to achieve their goals over a longer term. Unlike a casual secondary group that gets together once a week for a game night, a formal organization would have an official list of members and respective roles. Many formal organizations are structured bureaucratically. In a bureaucracy, the formal norms of operation are more specific and strict. These rules and regulations are legislated and enforced within a steep hierarchy. The functions of such rigid structure is to get past individual flaws and biases and create a stable system that reliably gets the job done. This also includes hiring based on skills for specific, specialized jobs to make sure that the particular roles at each step of the process are fulfilled by someone with the qualifications to do them well. But bureaucracies don't always work the way they're intended. While specialized jobs and procedures are supposed to be efficient, they can often end up creating even more work. And rules around hiring and promotion within the hierarchy can lead to poor leadership. If you're good at your job, you get promoted to a different job at a higher level. But once you get to the point where you're no longer good at your job, you tend to stay there. So people can end up with the roles they're worst at rather than best at. Bureaucracies are impersonal, built on secondary relationships. In principle, this avoids any personal bias that could disrupt smooth operation. I was hired to teach sociology because I have the necessary degree and prior experience, not because of my race or gender or having a friend in the administration. I could not teach any subject I'm not qualified for, and while I have rational legal authority over my classroom, I have to follow specific procedures for grading. If you feel I have graded you unfairly based on the requirements stated in our syllabus, you can file a complaint with my boss, who is higher in the hierarchy and has authority over me. But these rigid and impersonal structures can be alienating, making you feel separated and distant from your own roles, decided by a few distant authorities and a bureaucratic oligarchy of a few people on top, and also distant from other people and society in general. This can lead to ritualism, or obsession with following the rules. At the beginning of the term, we saw how major societal changes led to a need to re-examine our assumptions about society and the development of sociology. But the changes tied to industrialization and urbanization are still continuing. The theory of sociocultural evolution looks at deeper changes in the structure of our groups and interactions. As society gets more complex and people concentrate in cities, we get a much more diverse population all living together, each doing more and more specialized jobs, separating people but also making them more interdependent, as no one person can provide everything society needs. This happens largely through the increasing role of bureaucratic formal organizations, as these are more stable and adaptable than a massive group of loosely connected individuals. We don't teach our kids to farm anymore. They go to school to be taught by a professional teacher so that they can get a job in a company that will provide them income to buy food from some other company. Yet, not all of society changes at once, and we tend to see more of this in big urban cities than small rural towns. Ferdinand Tönnies saw these changes as mostly bad for us. We used to live in small, comforting Gemeinschaft, or community societies, where everyone knew each other via primary relationships and looked out for one another. But modern Gesellschaft, or company societies, are large and alienating, as we spend most of our time with secondary groups and strangers. This is why many people like the idea of moving to a small town, especially to raise their children. The traditional value of primary relationships is also why many businesses direct their customer service employees to put on a friendly front. Ever wonder why Burger King asks for a first name to call out your order? But urbanization has taken hold, and for the first time in human history, in the last decade, over half of the world's humans are living in cities. So if most people are living in these big alienating Gesellschaft societies, where people don't really know each other, how does society remain functional? Emil Durkheim wrote about alienation in his suicide study, but he recognized that society had adapted to form a new kind of social solidarity, the force that holds us all together. In pre-industrial societies, most people lived in small communities where life depended on everyone getting along and doing a few basic shared jobs. Outsiders, and anyone who deviated from the norm, caused major culture shock and could destabilize society. So keeping things running smoothly required everyone conforming to the dominant culture and caste hierarchy. Society was held together by force in what he called mechanical solidarity. But in a modern industrial society, individuals regularly interact with people of different cultural backgrounds and different roles. We might not know or even like everyone we meet, but that's okay, because if they affect us at all, usually it's because they're doing a job that we need them to do. I don't care who sells me my groceries, as long as I don't go hungry. Organic solidarity comes naturally from interdependence, so we can allow more deviance. We don't burn people at the stake for being different anymore, although many people who do grow up in small towns want to move to the city to get away from the gossip, judgment, and limited opportunities of rural life. Conformity and deviance will be the focus of the rest of this module, as we look at why and how individuals do, or sometimes don't, follow the group.